Several years ago, he lost his wife. Everyone in the family knew that her passing had broken something deep inside him, but they never spoke about it. Not 11. He carried his grief the way old men often carry pain, silently, heavily, and hidden beneath routines that never change. My father-in-law was a stern man. He spoke little, gave instructions sharply, and moved through the old house like someone who had long ago accepted that warmth was unnecessary. His words were practical, dry, and rarely emotional. Living under the same roof with him often felt like living beside a distant storm, always present, never fully understood. That evening began like any other. The house was quiet except for the faint creaking of wooden floors and the soft sound of water splashing into a metal bucket. He was washing the floor in the hallway, bending down as he scrubbed the worn boards that had seen decades of family life. Dust, memories, and time seemed embedded in every corner of that house. As he leaned forward, he noticed him standing in the doorway. At first, he thought nothing of it. But then he looked up. His expression was unlike anything he had ever seen before. He wasn't looking at me as his daughter-in-law. His eyes seemed distant, fixed on something far beyond the present moment. It was as though they were staring into the past itself. There was no awkwardness in his face, no discomfort, no impropriety. Only pain. Deep, aching pain. And regret. When you bent down towards the floor, he said quietly, almost in a whisper, he suddenly remembered her. He froze. He continued to stare, his voice trembling slightly. Many years ago, she stood there just like that, cleaning this same floor. And he simply walked past her. The words hung heavily in the air. For the first time, he understood that his reaction wasn't about me at all. It was about memories that had lived inside him for years, buried so deeply that even a cold barely faced them. The silence between us was not uncomfortable. It felt sacred, filled with everything I had never said. The old walls around us seemed to hold echoes of unspoken apologies. He slowly stood up, unsure of what to say. He sat down at the kitchen table, his shoulders looking smaller than they ever had before. Through the window, the wind stirred the old apple trees in the yard, their branches swaying like restless ghosts. For a long time, he said nothing. Then, unexpectedly, he began to talk. Not about work. Not about household matters. Not about obligations. But about his life. He told me how his wife, my late mother-in-law, had done everything herself. She cooked, cleaned, cared for the children, managed the home, and carried burdens he barely noticed. He thought it was normal, he admitted, his voice rough with emotion. He thought that was simply a woman's duty. Sometimes, he said, she would ask for help. And he would dismiss her. That's woman's work, he used to say. As he repeated those words aloud, they sounded crueler than perhaps he had ever realized. His hands trembled. For the first time, he no longer saw a rigid patriarch. He saw an elderly man haunted by his own failures. He never learned how to thank her, he said softly. And he never had the chance. Tears welled in his tired eyes, though he tried to hide them. When she died, he explained, he lost more than his wife. He lost the opportunity to say the simplest, most necessary word. Thank you. That unspoken gratitude had become the heaviest burden of his life. He felt no discomfort, only compassion. Without speaking, he gently placed my hand over his. For once, he did not pull away. His hand was cold, fragile, and shaking almost imperceptibly. In that moment, he realized grief is not always loud. Sometimes it lives quietly for years, disguised as sternness, routine, or emotional distance. But beneath it all can remain a heart aching for redemption. You can still change, he said softly. He looked at me then, truly looked at me. And for the first time, there was something new in his gaze. Hope. That evening, something shifted inside the old house. When my husband returned home from work, he expected the usual routine, a quiet table, his father sitting stiffly in his chair, and me preparing dinner as always. But instead, he stopped in the doorway, visibly startled. For the first time anyone could remember, his father had already set the table himself. The old man had placed caps carefully beside the ash plat, boiled water for tea, and even cut the pie with surprising precision. Every moment seemed deliberate, almost ceremonial, as though they were trying to repair years of absence through small gestures. My husband looked from his father to me, confused. He simply smiled. No explanation was necessary. Something deeply personal had awakened in his father, something regret had buried, and memory had finally uncovered. Dinner that night was unusually quiet, but it was a different kind of silence. It no longer felt cold or distant. Instead, it was thoughtful, fragile, and full of unspoken understanding. Then, unexpectedly, my father-in-law spoke. "Thank you," he said. Just 2 words. Simple words that should have been ordinary. But in that house, they felt revolutionary. He thanked me for preparing meals. He thanked me for caring for the home. He even thanked his son for fixing the garden gate earlier that week. My husband nearly dropped his cap. Years of emotional reserve did not disappear instantly, but that night marked the beginning. Over the following weeks, the changes became impossible to ignore. He began helping with household tasks, small things at first. He peeled potatoes. He carried firewood. He washed dishes awkwardly, often insisting the was doing the job but continuing anyway. Sometimes he would catch him posing in front of old photographs of his wife. His expression was still heavy with sorrow, but there was also softness now. Not just grief. Understanding. It was as though he had finally allowed himself to see her not merely as part of the home's machinery, but as a person who had once carried love quietly, asking for little and receiving too little gratitude in return. One afternoon, while folding laundry, he said something that stayed with me forever. She deserved more kindness than he gave. There was no self-pity in his voice. Only truth. And perhaps truth, however painful, was the first real step toward healing. He also began reconnecting with others. He called old friends and spoken to in years. He visited neighbors. He apologized to his sister for a pointless argument that had lasted over a decade. It seemed that once he opened one locked door inside himself, many others followed. Regret had once isolated him. Now, reflection was slowly rebuilding him. My husband tried at first to understand these changes. He had grown up with a father who believed emotional distance was strength. Seeing tenderness in him felt unfamiliar, almost unsettling. But gradually, it all softened. The transformation of one man began affecting the entire family. Conversations grew warmer. Laughter returned more often. Even the house itself seemed different, less shunted, less burdened. The creaking wooden floors no longer felt like reminders of sorrow, but witnessed story Noel. One rainy evening, my father-in-law asked me to show him how his wife used to prepare her famous apple pie. He stood beside him in the kitchen, guiding his weathered hands as he carefully mixed flour, sugar, and butter. He smiled faintly when the familiar scent filled the room. "She always made this in autumn," he murmured. Then, after a pause, he added, "I wish she had told her how much he loved it." He realized then that grief is often made heavier not only by loss, but by silence. The words we never say can become lifelong burdens. But perhaps healing begins when those words are finally spoken, even if only to memory. That night, we placed the pie on the table. For the first time in years, it looked peaceful. Not because the pain was gone, but because he had finally begun to make peace with it. And in doing so, he gave a love was something unexpected. A reminder that it is never too late to become kinder. Never too late to express gratitude. Never too late to change the story, even when many chapters have already been written. The old house still held memories. But now, alongside regret, it also held forgiveness. And for my father-in-law, that simple moment, when he had bent down towards the floor, had become more than a memory. It had become the beginning of redemption. As months passed, the transformation in my father-in-law became more than a temporary change. It became a new way of living. The man who had once filled the home with silence and rigid authority now moved through it differently. His presence no longer felt heavy. There was still sadness in him, of course, grief does not simply disappear, but it had softened into something gentler. Reflection had changed him. For years, he had lived as though emotions were burdens to be hidden. But now, perhaps for the first time in his life, he understood that unspoken love can become one of life's greatest regrets. He began sharing stories about his wife more often. Not just stories of her duties or responsibilities, but stories of her laughter, her favorite songs, the ways she hummed softly while baking, how she loved spring blossoms and carefully planted flowers beneath the kitchen window every year. He listened as he spoke, realizing that for so long, these memories had been locked away because remembering had been too painful. But now, speaking of her was no longer just sorrowful. It was healing. One afternoon, he opened an old wooden drawer and carefully removed a faded photograph. In it, his wife stood in the garden, smiling beneath the apple trees, flour dusted on her apron from baking earlier that day. He stared at the picture for a long time. She was happy more often than he deserved, he whispered. Then, with trembling hands, he placed the photo in a frame and set it on the living room shelf, no longer hidden away. It was a small act. But it meant everything. He was no longer running from memory. He was honoring it. As autumn arrived, the house prepared for another family gathering. Children's laughter soon filled the rooms, dishes clattered in the kitchen, and warm scents drifted through the halls. But this year was different. Before dinner began, my father-in-law stood slowly from his chair and raised his teacup. The room fell silent. His voice trembled, but it did not stop. He spent too many years believing love did not need to be spoken, he said. His son looked stunned. He felt tears forming before he even continued. He thought providing was enough. He thought silence was strength. He paused, his eyes glistening. But he was wrong. No one moved. No one spoke. He lost my wife before he ever thanked her properly. Before he told her how much of this family existed because of her quiet strengths. His voice cracked. And that regret has lived with me every day. The room was utterly still. Then he looked at me. And you, he said softly, helped me see what he had refused to face. Tears slipped down my cheeks. Thank you, he continued, for reminding me that there is still time to say what matters. There are moments in life when words carry the weight of years. This was one of them. My husband lowered his head, overcome with emotion. For perhaps the first time in his life, he truly saw his father not as an unsakable authority figure, but as a flawed human being learning, even late in life, how to love more honestly. That evening changed a lot of us. From then on, gratitude became more common in our home. Not dramatic declarations. Just simple truths. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'm sorry. These small words, once absent, became the foundation of something stronger than pride. Connection. The old house, once burdened by silence, now felt alive with warmth. And though his wife was gone, her legacy remained, not only in memory, but in the transformations she knowingly inspired even after death. My father-in-law eventually began visiting her grave regularly. But now, instead of standing there in silent guilt, he spoke aloud. He told her about the family. About the apple pies. About the grandchildren. And every visit ended the same way. Thank you. Perhaps she could not hear him. Or perhaps she always had. But what mattered most was that he had finally found the courage to speak. Years of regret had not vanished. But they had been reshaped into wisdom. And wisdom, shared honestly, became a gift to the next generation. Sometimes, life offers only one brief moment to see everything clearly. A simple gesture. A familiar posture. A memory unexpectedly awakened. For my father-in-law, that moment came when he bent down towards the floor. A small, ordinary act. Yet it opened the door to buried grief, overdue gratitude, and long-delayed redemption. It reminded us all that love should never be left unspoken. Because while we cannot always rewrite the past, we can still choose how the next chapter begins. And in North House, among creaking floors and weathered walls, a man finally learned that the most important words are often the simplest. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you.